Hello, inaayos ko lang ang setup ko kaya pasensya muna kayo. Okay. Update ko muna kayo sa channel report. Kaya kapapasok lang as of today. As of today, I have 4,818 subscribers, up from 4,770 4 days ago. At saka, ang views ko po ay 3,068 views in 48 hours. 48 hours is 2 days. So, ibig sabihin, may gitna 1,500 views ako a day. Paano nangyari yun? Maraming viewers ang interesado sa aking previous content ng mga live stream po. Pero mayroon na rin akong mga views na umaabot ng 1,300. Dalawang beses na within the week. So, dito po, kung hinahanap nyo ay entertainment, mali po yung pinasukan yung channel. Dito po ay matalinong diskusyon. Dito po, ang channel ay hindi po nagkakalat ng fake news. Pag nagkamali po ang iyong host, si Tatay the First, ay aminin niya. Dito po, ang mga masasamang komento ng mga replay commenters ay binabasa po natin. Katulad ni Raul Papa. Basahin natin ang komento niya. Kasi yung sinasabi mo katotohanan ay ayon lang sa inyo. Bakit may feedback? I'm sorry. Ayan, wala nang feedback. Okay. Technical difficulty. Okay, basahin natin ulit. Kasi yung sinasabi mo katotohanan ay ano lang sa inyo. Sa opinion nyo lang hindi ito yung totoong katotohanan. Mr. Raul Papa, lahat po ng sinasabi natin dito, mayroong ebidensya. Palikan mo lahat ng LS ko, mayroong parating ebidensya. At lalo na, panig ka sa tao na hindi doon sa pinakawalan niya, o sa salita o gawa. Lalo na kapag tanso ka o loyalist ka, para ka din dilawan. Fake daw ako. Tanso is meaning fake. Kailan ako naging fake? Always on the level po ako. hindi tumatanggap ng kamalian. Mga viewers ko, ilang beses na akong umamin ng kamalian. Nung isang araw nga, umamin ako ng kamalian. Lalo na ngayon, tanggapin nyo man o hindi, ang nangyari, 3 beses na pangit na diskarte ng administrasyon. So, doon bistado. Tagay ko, ito'y aliporis ni Maharlika, ni General Macanas. Kasi pangit daw ang diskarte ng magaling nating presidente. Kulang sa katalinuhan itong si Raul Papa. Ang sinasabi niya, hindi niya alam. Okay. So, yan lang masamang komento. So, naroon pang isang komento, si Lady Net. Pag nagbubulag-bulagan, walang talagang makikitang liwanag, Tatay Jack. Yung mga nagbubulag-bulagan, nandan niya nakikita ang ebidensya, ayaw pa rin maniwala. Talagang walang liwanag silang makikita. Very well said, Lady Net or Little One. Okay. Punta tayo sa bagong comments. Babasahin ko muna yung mga bagong comments ng ating mga bago ako mag-proceed. Kasi important. This episode po is one of the most important episode na mapapanood nyo. Kasi malalaman nyo ang punot dulo ng West Philippine Sea story. Parang kwento po ito. Latest comments I haven't responded to coming from Ninita Floro 31 minutes ago. Mabuhay our Pbbm, mabuhay nga. Under sa new era of hope and aspiration in bagong Pilipinas. Very real. Put Miss Ninita Floro, nakaka-inspire ang iyong komento. Next. Ito po. Mula kay Lola V, isang senior po. Lola V, Lola ka. Ako ay Lolo rin. I am 72 years old, a senior also. I share your sentiments. I have nothing ng corruption. Sabi niya. It was one hour ago. Good morning and blessed Sunday po. My first time to watch your vlog and I'm a senior. Senior din po ako. I follow many bloggers and they are for the welfare of the people and the truth. Okay. Maraming bloggers kakanya. Pero dito, parating katotohanan ang sinasabi namin. Hindi kami naninira ng sino. Araw-araw po kahit sa nandito ako sa Canada ay nakatutok ako sa panunod ng mga balita sa ating bansa. Kaya nakakalungkot po talaga ang mga nangyayari sa atin. There is hope po. Lola V. Nakalimutan ko yung isa. I hate corrupt politicians, corruption that at mga mapang-abusong mga politika sa na sinasamantala ang kanilang posisyon sa gobyerno. Parehas tayo ng pananaw. Kaya, pero kailangan natin ng ebidensya, Lola V. Hindi tayo basta-basta nag-aakusa. So, manood kayo po rito parate at malalaman nyo ang katotohanan. Kasi dito po ay puro research po. So, Nandito na po si Fe Valsen, si Saliram Gamer. Wala pa yatang wala pang jacket sa si Jam nandito. Mamaya na kita bibigyan ng jacket ayaw gumalaw ng aking kwan. Yan. I have given you a jacket, Saliram Gamer po. Okay. Nakakalungkot ang nangyari kaninang-kanina lang na nagbanggaan po ang Navy ship ng China at saka yung supply boats ng Pilipinas. Pero kasalanan po ng mga Chinese ito. Parati silang nambubuli at saka nanghaharas. Ang mission po ng ating mga maliit na boat ay to resupply po ang BRP ceremony. Hindi po mang-away ang tukoy nila. Sila po ay nagdadala ng supplies para sa ikabubuhay ng mga sundalo po na nasa Sierra Madre. Bakit nyo haharasin ang mga ito? Di na ba kayo nataawa dun sa mga taong nandun sa Sierra Madre? Pilit yun. Butuin sila. Kaya, wag natin antayin natin ang aksyon ng ating presidente kasi ayaw ko ng digmaan. As much as possible, this should be solved. The conflict should be solved through diplomatic means. Put pressure on China coming from the international community. Yan ang solusyon yan, ang suggestion ko po. Kumusta? Harang tatay? Okay, thank you po. Musta kayo dyan, tatay, sa California? Mabuti po. Okay. Importante po ito. Dito ko lang kayo makakakita ng research po. Mamaya ko na babasahin yung mga comments. Research po coming from the Washington Post. Ang Washington Post is the second most powerful newspaper organization in the world after the New York Times. Of course, pag-aari po ito ni Jeff Bezos, who is the founder of Amazon. If you don't know the Amazon, it's one of the biggest companies in the world. Okay, so this organization prides itself in in-depth analysis and investigation po. Sila po ang nagpatumba kay President Nixon, to give you a sort of history. Sila, ang Washington Post, ang two reporters nila, si Woodward and Bernstein, were the reporters who brought down President Nixon ng United States because of the Watergate scandal. This is the newspaper that brought down President Nixon po. So this can be trusted na hindi po magtatago ng anuman. Ito isisiwalat nila ng buong buo ang kaganapan sa West Philippine Sea. So hindi ako masyadong magbibigay ng komento. I will just give to you the narrative of Washington Post na kinalap nila through meticulous investigation po. Okay. Wala po akong tagabasa, natutulog po si Direktora. Hirap po ako. So, bear with me. Tamang-tama. Yung nung thumbnail ko, ginawa ko, hindi pa nangyayari yung incident. Tamang-tama ang aking pag-research po ng tungkol sa West Philippine issue. Okay. Umpisa na natin. Kwentuhan lang ito. The Washington Post, rebuffed by China, President Marcos Toughens line on contested waters. Story by Rebecca Tan, Regine Cabato, and Christian Shepherd. Ito po, hindi ko gawa-gawa. Okay. Alam niyo, hirap ako. Maswerte ako nang mayroon akong co-host na nagbabasa. Puro analysis at saka commentary lang ako. Okay. Basahin natin ang kwento ng Washington Post tungkol sa West Philippine Sea. The Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos was visiting the province outside the capital, Manila, last month when his national security advisor urgently contacted him. Istorya na. Nasa probinsya daw si Presidente Marcos. Nung nalaman niya, may tumawag sa kanya si Anyo na kanyang security advisor. Anyo ang pumalit kay Professor Clarita Carlos. Kinontak siya. Bakit siya kinontak? Okay. Tuloy natin ang istorya. Nireport sa kanya na China installed a floating barrier in the part of the sea claimed by the Philippines. Dapat bang alisin? Or should it be removed? Okay. Tuloy natin ang kwento. Para blow by blow account po ito. Marcos' decision was almost immediate. According to officials in the administration, he ordered the Coast Guard to cut the 300-meter-long barrier. So, dito po, nire-report ang Washington Post na decisive po ang ating presidente. Immediate, kagad-kagad. After consultation, a brief consultation sa kanya mga kasundaluhan, na hepe ng kasundaluhan, saka mga foreign affairs officials, nag-action kagad. Ang Washington Post ang nagsasabi. Di ba? Yan din ang sinasabi ko noon sa inyo. Yung analysis ko. Pinapatunay ngayon ng Washington Post na tama po ang aking analysis. Okay. Kwento na tayo. Nakakatawa. They brought the anchor back to Manila for a news conference calling it a souvenir. Nangyari yun, di ba? Okay. Ito, kwento po ito ng Washington Post. The operation captured on a video released to the public by the Coast Guard was seen as surprisingly forceful move, even by those who have been monitoring Marcos' assertion, growing assertion of Philippine claims to nearby islands and reefs in South China Sea. So, nagiging forceful na raw daw po si Presidente Marcos. Yan. Nag-umpisa na siya na maging matigas sa kanyang pakikipagtungo sa China. Okay. Punta pa tayo. Ito. But his resolve to push back against China has been hardening over the past 10 months, fueled by continuing Chinese harassment and several instances when Philippine attempts at de-escalating have been rebuffed by Beijing, according to more than a dozen Western, Philippine, and other senior officials and diplomats. So, 10 buwan pala na parati siyang binabaliwala ng China. Yan, report po yan ng Washington Post. 10 buwan. Kaya siya naging matatag sa kanyang ugnayan sa China kasi sa kanyang posisyon, kasi 10 taon na siyang hindi pinapangani, 10 buwan na siyang hindi pinapakinggan ng China. Report ulit yan ng Washington Post. Ulitin ko, di galing po ito sa akin. Report po ng Washington Post. Pero lahat dito, lahat po ay siya kong analysis noon pa. Analysis ko po yan. Top aides in the Marcos administration have pursued a campaign to publicly expose the Chinese incursion in this strategic part of the Pacific Ocean, which Filipinos call the West Philippine Sea. Diba sinabi ko na nagkakaroon ng public relationship, magaling siya. Again, napatunayan na tama analysis ko. Okay. Pinapatunayan ng Washington Post na tama po ang analysis ko. Maski nung sabihin nyo na matanda na ako na hindi alam ang sinasabi. Pero ito na, patunay na ito. The response has been an outrage domestically among allies of the Philippines, further reinforcing the president's approach, political analysts say. Okay. Gising na po. Salamat. Nagising na po ang direktora. Magko-comment na lang ako. Okay. Wait. Okay. Nandiyan na yung senior. Wait a minute. Thank you, Directora. May feedback. Ito po ay kwento ng Washington Post. ay may feedback pa rin. Alisin mo yung YouTube. Pasensya na po. Hello?
May feedback pa rin? Wala na.
Minimal. Okay. So, tanggalin ko yung bother ako sa kon. So, the response has been an outrage. Okay.
The response has been outraged domestically and among allies of the Philippines, further reinforcing the president's approach, political analysts say.
Dahil sa estratehiya ni President Marcos ay na-galvanize ang taong pambansang ang our people of the Philippines were galvanized into uniting to protest against the actions of China. Mahirap maghanap ng Tagalog word. Okay.
The president's posture would have been unexpected a year ago, when Marcos rose to power in part by allying himself with former President Rodrigo Duterte.
Katotohanan yan. Nung una, sinundan niya ang policy ni President Rodrigo Duterte na kaibiganin ng China. Unang state visit nga niya sa China. Diba? Kasi parang successful yung foreign policy ng China ng Pilipinas sa China under President Duterte na hindi tayo nagawan ng teritoryo. So okay. Ito, mahaba po ito.
Who spent his 6-year term seeking closer relations with China while lashing out at the United States and many of the Philippines' other traditional allies.
Okay, ang sabi ko noon at sinasabi ko ngayon na hindi po forte ni ex-President Rodrigo Duterte ang foreign policy. Hindi siya po is not a diplomatic person. By the way you talk lang, makikita mo wala siyang diplomasya. Sa foreign relations po, kailangan mo ng diplomasya. Hindi mo kailangan nakipag-away sa iba't ibang bansa. Pero magaling si Presidente Duterte when it comes to national issues sa economy, sa peace and order. Doon mataas ang grado niya. Pero sa foreign policy po, medyo nagkulang siya ng konti. Okay.
In cutting the barrier which has been installed in an area that an international court says is under Philippine jurisdiction, Marcos took one of his boldest steps yet against China's claims over practically the entire South China Sea, stoking anxiety about escalating tensions.
Maraming natakot dito. Yeah. Sabi ng Washington Post na bold po yung step na ginawa niya against China. Pero at the same time, maraming pro-China natakot na mag-escalate po ang tension. Yan. Hindi po ako nagsasabi niyan. Sabi ng Washington Post.
There's a need to cool down, Philippine Defense Secretary Gilbert Chodoro acknowledged. But on whose shoulders lies the burden of the escalation? Not ours.
Sabi ng magaling nating defense secretary, okay, mag-cool down tayo. Pero hindi kami ang problema. Ang problema ay China. Sila nga ang problema. Sila ang nambubuli kasi. So, on whose shoulder lies the burden of the de-escalation? Not ours. Hindi kami. Hindi tayo. Mga Chinese po ang dapat mag-de-escalate. Kasi hindi naman natin sila binubuli. Sila ang nambubuli. Okay.
Officially, Chinese officials have brushed off the barrier incident as the Philippines putting on a farce of their own entertainment. In a private meeting with the Philippine Foreign Secretary, the Chinese ambassador to the Philippines, Huang Xilian, was unapologetic, suggesting that it was Manila that had behaved provocatively, according to officials at the Philippine Foreign Ministry.
So, ang nagsasabi na lang yung mga foreign minister sa foreign affairs po, kung ano po ang nangyari. Makikita mo to. Talagang in-depth po ang reporting nila. So yung mga hindi natin nalalaman ay lalabas na ngayon. Okay. Pinagpipilitan ng Chinese ambassador na tayo ang gumawa ng provocation. Diyos ko naman. Okay.
The Chinese embassy did not respond to questions on this meeting.
Okay. Ayaw din. Ano nangyari sa meeting?
The Philippines was not looking for trouble, Chidoro said in an interview. But China has stepped up in our living room. Before they enter our bedroom, we have to do something.
Talagang magaling si Secretary Tudoro. O, totoo nga naman. Meron kang bahay. Pumasok yung China na uninvited. Baka pasukan pa yung bedroom nyo. You have to do something. Kailangan mayroon tayong gawin. Yan ang explanation po ni Gibo Chodoro.
Marcos, the son of a former dictator who has been criticized in the West for his family's human rights abuses, did not campaign on being tough on China.
Nakikita mo, hindi pro Marcos po itong newspaper na ito.
In January, he made his first state visit outside Southeast Asia to Beijing, returning with $22 billion of investment pledges, promises from Chinese officials to strike a compromise over the contested waters, and a new emergency hotline between maritime officers of the two countries.
Okay. Tanda natin, nung unang nagpunta sa China, nakakuha siya ng pledge na 22 billion. Nakakuha siya ng agreement na magkakaroon po ng hotline. At saka emergency hotline between the maritime officers of the two countries. Gagamitin yan kung mayroong trouble po, yung hotline. Importante po yan sa istorya.
But less than 2 months later, a Chinese Coast Guard ship pointed what the Philippines called a military-grade laser light at a Philippine vessel.
So, sila ang unang nag-violate ng kanilang agreement by pointing a military-grade laser light sa ating mga Coast Guard officials, Coast Guard officers. Sila po may kasalanan. Okay.
Although harassment by China was routine in the contested waters, the use of a laser was new. This happened so soon after his visit infuriated Marcos, officials said.
Hindi ito pinapalabas ng local media, pero dito inilabas ng Washington Post na si Presidente Marcos ay nagalit. Bihira tayong makita si Pbbm nagalit. Pero dito po, nilabas ng Washington Post na galit ang ating presidente sa ginawa ng mga Chinese. Kada kararating lang niya galing ng China, may agreement na sila. Binayolate ang China. Kaya galit na galit po ang ating mahal na presidente. Dapat lang magalit siya.
He summoned the ambassador Huang, marking the first time in at least a decade that a Philippine president had lodged such a public and high-level complaint.
Yun. Yes. Galing po sa Washington Post ulit. First time in at least a decade that a Philippine president has lodged a public and high-level complaint. Hindi siya kuting na tinatawag ni Maharlika. Siya po ay tigre. Isang kuting ba ang gagawa? At isang dekada nga walang umaarma sa China ng katulad ng ginawa niya na pag-alma. Tapos tatawagin siyang kuting.
Marcos's executive secretary, Lucas Bersamin, who attended the meeting, later said in a media interview that the president had been unusually sharp in his remarks.
Okay. Si Bersamin na magpapatunay, talagang galit po ang ating malambing, malumanin na presidente. Delikado yan pag nagalit ang isang taong tahimik. Unusually sharp in his remarks. Yan ang operative word po dyan. Mahaba po itong research ko. Ayaw.
The ambassador was there, mouthing an official party line. But Marcos said, "I thought the Philippines was a friend of China," recounted Bersamin.
Imagine nyo lang na nag-meeting sila, ay daldal ang Chinese na mouthing na whatever China wants him to say. Pero kinatchot po siya ng presidente. I thought, sabi niya, direkta na sinabi niya, I thought that the Philippines was a friend of China. Yan. Makikita na natin ang buong istorya. What we agreed with China, with your president, did not go down to the lower level. Hindi sunod-sunod. Yung mga nasa mga babang posisyon, si Presidente Xi Jinping. Yan ang sabi niya doon sa ambassador. Okay. Tuloy tayo.
For months, tense encounters between Chinese and Philippine vessels continued. Then one Saturday morning in August, A hulking Chinese Coast Guard ship bore down on a Philippine Coast Guard vessel.
Okay. Non-news na yan, hindi ko na bibigyan ng komentaryo.
About 30 minutes after the Philippine Coast Guard vessel reported the incident, Philippine officials called their Chinese counterparts on the emergency hotline.
Okay, ito po yung importante. When he visited China, nagkaroon sila ng agreement na magkaroon hotline. Direct communication between the two governments. Pero tignan natin kung ano nangyari sa hotline.
Said Philippine Foreign Secretary Enrique Manalo. For 6 hours, the Chinese did not pick up, Manalo said. Manalo said.
Ring ng ring yung phone. Ayaw answerin ng mga bastos na Chinese. Guilty sila siguro. Diba? Para sa pa yung hotline na nag-agree si President Xi Jinping at saka si President Bongbong Marcos. Ngayon lang natin nalalaman niya. Kasi isiniwalat ng Washington Post. Okay.
How would you feel? He asked, smiling tightly as he recounted the incident. A soft-spoken career diplomat, he has been known as a voice of restraint and personally signed the agreement creating the hotline.
Medyo napahiya si Secretary Manalo kasi siya ang nagpirma ng agreement sa hotline. Hindi siya pinansin. Hindi pinansin yung agreement nila. Napahiya, nasaktan si Speaker Manalo. Speaker? Si Foreign Minister Manalo. Okay.
Well, we were surprised. Manalo continued, his smile fading. Disappointed.
Oh, napahiya siya. Disappointed eh. Hindi po galing po ito. It is so investigative reporting ng Washington Post.
His ministry has tried for years to address tensions diplomatically, Manalo said, filing more than 450 diplomatic protests to China between 2020 and 2023.
450 diplomatic protests na pala ang inilodge natin against China from 2020 to 2023. Ang dami na po.
Leaders from both countries often have emphasized that maritime disputes do not represent the totality of their bilateral relations.
Okay. Sabi ng China yan.
But recent incidents, more disturbing than before, Manalo said, have made it harder for Manila to maintain that approach.
Dahil sa pamubuli ng China, nahihirapan ang presidente at saka yung foreign minister to not respond to the bullying tactics of China. So ano ang gagawin? Dito po, nagsimula po na maghanap ng kaalyado si Presidente Marcos na sa mga kaalyadong nasyon na malalakas din tulad ng Japan, United States, Canada, India, European Union, Australia po. Kasi alam ng presidente na hindi tayo pwedeng lumaban po sa China. Kailangan niya maghanap ng kalyado. Okay? Ganyan po nangyari.
The water cannon incident probably went further than any other event this year in galvanizing anti-China sentiment in the Marcos administration and in the Philippine public.
In the so, yung water cannon incident, ang talagang nagalit ang tao sa China. 80% of the Filipino people, if I'm right, sa Pulse survey, were against China because of that incident po. Okay. Nandito si Jones Vlog, si
Shella Maceda,
okay.
Red One, Apoke Vlog, Fevalsint. There's a new subscriber, Liram Gamer. Jam is also here. My channel, Kadunggog.
Atimafe.
Mafi TV is also here. And there's Ria Mahilum.
Okay, thank you. Okay, patuloy natin.
Immediately afterward, the Philippine military significantly increased its overtures to the United States over maritime security issues, including tactics for boosting surveillance of sea activity.
Sino may kasalanan kung bakit kumiling po sa United States ang ating presidente? Ang China, dahil sa pumubuli po nila. Diyan po, sinasabi ko sa inyo, naghahanap na ng kalyado ang ating magaling na presidente. Hindi niya sinundan na ang foreign policy ng dating presidente nating si Rodrigo Duterte. Kasi akala siguro may nagbubulong siguro sa mga Chinese na weak po ang ating president. Kaya sinusubukan nilang ibuli ang ating mahal na PBBM. Nagkamali po ang China. Anong epekto? Instead na maging malapit ang si PBBM sa China, naging malapit na ngayon si PBBM sa Estados Unidos. Ganyan. Tulad ng analysis ko. Okay.
Said a U.S. embassy official who spoke on the condition of anonymity to share private discussions.
Okay. Anonym. Pero tamang-tama doon sa tumutubaybay sa aking channel, lahat halos ng sinasabi ng Washington Post ay siya kung analysis po. Hindi po. Ako nagsasabi ng hindi to rito. No?
While this type of cooperation has long been possible under the existing military alliance between the two countries, Manila had not until recently shown such interest, the official said.
Okay.
Since the start of the year, the Philippines also has signed or began negotiations for new defense agreements with Australia, Japan, the European Union, and India.
Ako lang nagsabi sa aming lahat ng vloggers na India is going to help us because they established defense attaché sa Philippine defense attaché. Kung naumpisan nyo ang aking vlogging career, mapapansin nyo na lahat po yan sinabi ko. Ito di ko alam.
The Philippine Navy bought 8 ships from South Korea for its offshore combat force, which is responsible for territorial defense, and recently struck a deal with Canada for use of its satellites. To detect ships that go dark by turning off location signals, something commonly done by Chinese vessels in the South China Sea, analysts say.
Ito, hindi, aaminin ko, hindi ko po alam na bumili pala ng 8 barko ang Pilipinas sa Korea. At saka nakipag-deal sa Canada tungkol sa usage of satellites. Mahusay talaga ang presidente. Kasi may military background po ang ating magaling na presidente. Okay.
After decades of focusing on domestic security threats that have now mostly abated, it is natural for the Philippines to pivot towards external security issues, said Chudoro, the defense secretary.
Okay. So, nabawasan ng konti yung problema sa MPA. Thanks to President Duterte. Nabawasan po. So, dapat lang, sabi ni Gibuti Doro, na i-focus ang attention natin dun sa external security issues, or in other words, tungkol sa West Philippine Sea. Okay.
The country needs to muster a credible defense against China, not as a strategy to provoke war, but to deter it, he said.
Hindi tayo naghahanap ng gulo, pero kailangan i-build up po ang ating credible defense. Di ba sinabi ko noon? It's time to have dependable defense sa ating mga bansa. Noon pa yan sinabi. Pinatutunayan ulit ng Washington Post.
In China, however, establishment scholars have accused Marcos of making a high-stakes bid for more direct American support. He rejects that allegation. Marcos thinks China-US competition is an opportunity to seize more control in the West Philippine Sea, said Hu Bu, the director of the South China Sea Strategic Situation Probing Initiative.
Baliktad. Hindi tayo nagsisik ng additional territory. Ang China po ang nagsisik ng additional territory. Ito po, Strategic Situation Probing Initiative, think tank po yan sa China. Siyempre, kanino sa papanig? Sa China. No.
He thinks he can play the two powers off each other for his own benefit, but it is a dangerous approach.
May mga bloggers na nagsasabi nito hindi. Pagawain natin China at saka United States, tayo ang magbe-benefit daw. Hindi po yan ang purpose po ni Presidente Marcos. Ang purpose po niya ay para hindi po tayo magawan ng teritoryo. Next.
In January, Marcos appointed a new national security advisor, Eduardo Año, a former general who led the military's battle against Islamic State militants in the southern city of
Marawi.
Marawi. Among his first directives was to adopt a policy of transparency about developments in the contested waters, said his deputy, Jonathan Malaya. The Coast Guard was directed to document every instance of harassment and publicize it on social media and to share the information with diplomats and journalists.
Magaling yung tactics ni Anyo. Pinakita na sa buong mundo yung ginagawa ng China. Magaling po yung tactics niya. Okay.
These photos and videos, sometimes shakily taken by seamen at the break of day, have driven widespread fury toward China among Filipinos.
So yan, galit na galit ang mga Pilipino. Nakikita na lang ang ebidensya, pangaras ng mga Chinese. Sinong Pilipino ang hindi magalit? Yung mga nagde-defend po ng China ay mga traitor talaga. Okay.
In a survey done by the polling firm Pulse Asia in June, more than 80% of Filipino respondents said they want the country to strengthen alliances to defend its maritime rights.
Okay. Mayroong comment si Erika Bats.
But transparency...
May comment si Erika Bats.
May comment si Erika Bats. Erika Kabads says, sa akin lamang po kung anuman yung napag-uusapan mula sa mga leader at nakakataas na opisyales ng Chinese government, mukhang di nakakarating dun sa mga tao nila sa isla. Just my observation po.
Okay, for that, I'll give a medal to Erika Bats kasi tama po yung kanyang sinabi. Yan din ang sinabi ng ating mahal na presidente na it did not go to the lower basta sa mga mababaan din po nakarating. So, you get a medal today, Erika Bats, for that observation po. Okay.
He continued, I think it was during PRRD time that our government bought some gray ship from South Korea, which was a bit controversial during his term. I may be wrong or not.
No matter what, bumili tayo ng ship. Kaya importante po yan. Credit to PRD if ever siya ang bumili. Palakpakan kay PRD. Ibig sabihin, mahal na rin niya ang ating bansa kasi gusto niyang protektahan ang ating teritoryo. Okay. Santo Tiago, late po ako Sunday. Okay. Nandyan po siya. Tuloy natin. Wala nang komento dyan. No?
But transparency cuts both ways, said Evan Laksamana, a senior fellow at the International Institute for Strategic Studies in Singapore, who studies military modernization. While the Philippines says publicity campaign has exposed Chinese aggression, it also has laid bare the limitations of the Philippine Coast Guard Navy, which have been underfunded.
Okay, kaya nga, isa rin dito siguro kung bakit popular po yung confidential fund ni Sara Duterte. Let's be frank about it. Kasi nakita ng karamihan sa tao na underfunded nga ang Philippine Coast Guard at saka Philippine Navy. But saka ko na di-discuss yan. Okay.
Well, the Philippine forces are beginning to advance, Laksamana said. In the meantime, however, China keeps inching.
Ang ibig sabihin, nag-a-advance na ang ating mga pwersa, pero yung mga Chinese ay unti-unting gumagapang. Inching, ginagapang na, unti-unting gumagapang. Habang tayo ay nag-a-advance sa ating territory.
10 days after a barrier incident, the Coast Guard made an announcement that brought Manila to a stop. An unidentified commercial vessel had rammed a fishing boat in the West Philippine Sea.
Ito po, importante po ito. Kasi nangyari doon ito sa probinsya namin, tatlong mga mangingisda na Pangasinan ang namatay, nabangga ng isang barko. Ang mga senador ay blinamed kagad ang China, pero ang presidente natin ay kalmado. Kalmado. Okay. Kalmado ang presidente natin.
Department officials scrambled to figure out whose vessel it was. Lawmakers on the floor of the Philippine Senate claimed prematurely that it was China's. Marcos issued a statement urging calm.
Yung mga epal na senador na daktak ng nagtak, hindi naman alam ang whole situation, ay nagsalita na ng China. Pero ang ating magaling na presidente, kalma lang. Marcos issued a statement urging calm. Okay. Kahanga-hanga po ang ating presidente.
After 2 hours, the Coast Guard provided an update. It had been an oil tanker sailing under the flag of the Marshall Islands.
O, di napatunayan na tama si Presidente Marcos na asking for calm muna bago umaksyon. Kasi pag ura-urado kang aksyon na walang investigasyon, ay hindi ka matalinong tao sa palagay ko. Ay matalino ang ating presidente.
Thank God, Senate President Zubiri said that morning as he strode into his office, apologizing for being 40 minutes late for an interview because he had been fielding calls on the incident. It's a tinderbox right now in the West Philippine Sea.
Ang ibig yan sabihin tinderbox, madali pong mag-ignite ang sitwasyon. Tinderbox. Flashpoint po yan.
One flashpoint that could set off a major crisis is an atoll in the contested Spratly Islands, about 100 miles off the
900. 100 miles off the
Philippine coast and 900 miles from mainland China. In 1999, the Philippines intentionally ran a World War II era ship aground on the Second Thomas Shoal and has used the vessel since as a military outpost.
Okay? Alam na natin yan. Hindi na natin masyadong didiscuss yan.
Pro-China commentators say Beijing will not allow the Philippines to build a structure on the atoll, as some Philippine lawmakers have proposed.
Yung mga pro-Chinese na commentators, mga vloggers, mga total ni SAS, Rugando, ay hindi daw papayag ang China na mag-build ng facility doon sa atoll. Atin yun eh. Walang pakialam ang China dapat yan. Mali na.
Malaya, the national security official, declined to say what the government has in mind for the grounded vessel, the BRP Sierra Madre, but stressed that the administration has been refining a government-wide plan to deter China.
Kanya ng gobyerno ni Presidente Marcos, inaaral muna, nire-refine po. Mayroong bagong comment po. Ay, nandito po si Charlene Kim. Nandito po si Charlene Kim. Nandito na po si Trexie Villa, si mayroong bagong comment ang medalist natin ngayong araw na ito, si Era Cabads. Basahin natin.
Eric Cabads says, yung issue sa WPS was worse during Aquino Jr. time. Pinadala niya si Trillanes sa China, pero never ito sinabi kung ano pinag-usapan. Kaya nung ginisa siya ni Senator Enrile, nag-walk out ang forward.
Okay. Okay.
LOL. Would it work? He paused. We don't really know. What we do know, Malaya added, is we don't want to just accept this behavior.
Hindi na alam kung mag-work yung posibleng strategiya nila. Pero kailangan gawin o subukan ang isa. You cannot use the same type and unsuccessful formula to cure an old disease. Yan yung sinasabi ko eh. Kailangan ng bagong approach. Hindi ka dapat mag-rely sa dating ginagawa mo na hindi naman nag-work. Ay, nako.
Earlier this month, as Navy personnel from 7 allied countries gathered in the Philippines to participate in joint naval exercises, Chinese ships tried to intercept Philippine ships transporting supplies to the Sierra Madre. One Chinese vessel came within feet of a Philippine Coast Guard vessel.
Nakakatawa. Nung ginawa ko yung thumbnail ko ito, was Friday night. Nanganit yung kinakatakutan ko. Yung nagkabanggaan. How ironic na timing ang pagtalakay ko sa bagay na ito. Okay. Okay. Ito po.
Crew members and journalists stood on its deck with cameras filming.
Pinampo ng mga journalists ang nangyari. Kaya hindi po may pagkakaila ng Chinese na ginawa nila yung pangarap. Okay. So,
September 24 to October 24.
No, not that. Muna. Ay, sino nag-report? Hindi ko na. Wala eh. Okay po. Reporting po na ng Washington Post yun. Inirase ng YT yung research ko, pero natutuwa ko dahil kay Redwan. Part of my research po ay makikita nyo sa aking thumbnail. Sa aking thumbnail, nakikita nyo doon yung sa explanation po, nandun po ang research ko. Kung gusto nyo pong balikan, nandyan po. Nandyan po yung kay Washington Post, Rebuffed by China po. Nandyan po lahat. Kasi importante po ang article na ito ng Washington Post kasi malalaman natin kung ano ang nangyari. Behind the scenes po. Okay, ulitin ko, hindi po tayo nagkakalat na may information po dito. Mayroon po tayong credible evidence po. So, kung wala na pong komento, ay mag-end na po ang ating live stream. Okay.
Tapos na ba tayo?
Basahin natin yung last na kami.
Let's see.
Gene Jaggers?
Gene Jaggers is here.
Yes, Sunday.
Blessed Sunday, Tatay. Sabot won, pero 1 week na pay lang.
No pay.
No pay?
No pay lang.
Okay.
No pay lang.
Akala ako nag-Ilocano eh.
Okay.
Sabot won?
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Ulitin ko, malit lang ang ating live stream, marami pong nanonood sa aking past live stream because they like my content. Let me check on the current status ng aking
Did you greet everyone that's here?
Greet mo sila. Right now, my current subscribers ay 4,825.
I think I've already mentioned.
Sino pa? Baka magtampo sila pag hindi mo nag-greet.
My channel, Kadungog.
Okay.
Fables Sin. I think I've already mentioned her. Charlene Kim, sorry, is here. Ate Mafi TV, yeah. Rhea Mahilom, Eric Cabato. Well, we know that. We read some of his comments.
Okay.
Trexie Villa is here. Masanto siya agot at Tatay Jackford. Sorry, late po ako Sunday. Gene Jaggers is here. I think that's it.
Good. Nadagdagan ulit. Okay, final report po ng subscribers po natin. Nadagdagan naman po 4,826 po ang ating new subscribers. So, unti-unti po nadadagdagan. Makakamit ko yata yung 5,000 at the end of the year. Sa suporto po ninyo. Suportahan nyo po ang Team Unity channel. Di po panahon nito para tayo ay magsiraan. Panahon po ito para tayo ay united. Kaya Team Unity po. May hinaharap po tayong problema. Dapat hindi tayo magkawatak-watak. I call on my fellow vloggers to stop uh, continuing this unity campaign, because what we need now in our nation is united Philippines po. Yan po lang aking mensahe sa aking mga fellow vloggers. Kung mahal nyo ang Pilipinas, ay magsama-sama tayo na wag munang pabayaan muna ang mga atake. Concentrate natin ang ating ah, punto de vista laban sa China at sa mga ginagawa po ng Chinese. I call on you, my friends. Okay. So, bye. I love you all.